What is the rule of law? The World Justice Project uses 4 principles to beautifully define it. First, the government and its citizens are held accountable under the law. The law is meant to protect all of the rights of its people. The information of the law is fair, accessible, and efficient. The justice system is carried out by competent and ethical people who are representative of their community. Who is the rule of law for? The Most Revered Desmond Tutu once said, "The rule of law matters to all of us, to the entire human family, wherever we live, however we look, regardless of ethnicity, gender, geographic location, or class." Strengthening the rule of law is an essential ingredient to enhance the justice, peace, and economic and social progress. How can the rule of law be successful? Again, the World Justice Project gives a list of fundamentals that must be in place for the rule of law to be effective. The beautiful thing about these is that none of these can actually work without the others. If one were to fail, the whole thing would fall apart. Not even the rule of law could be successful. So let's go over these. Constraint of government powers. This is the law that says even government officials are always to be upheld to the law. Many modern governments have implemented the checks and balance system that makes sure the pressures of government do not remain in the hands of any single branch of government. Absence of corruption. The World Justice Project defines this as the use of public power for private gain. Officials are sworn and responsible to uphold the trust the people have given them. Open government. This means that what goes on inside of the government must be open to the government, and all laws are clear, stable, and public. Fundamental rights. This means that the human rights of every individual will be protected by the law, including the right to privacy and due process. Order and security. This ensures that every person has security over them and their belongings. This means that each state must enact means to prevent violence, crime, and terrorism. Regulatory enforcement. This is basically the public's right to ensure government regulations are enforced by the proper authorities. Civil justice. This allows all citizens to be able to bring their issues to court and use the justice system. This requires that the system is accessible, affordable, effective, impartial, and culturally competent. Criminal justice. This ensures that authorities investigate all grievances and crimes effectively, timely, and without bias. Informal justice. This is one more that's for countries who are known for their corruption and have a really hard time making the rule of law work. This is an alternative because their legal institutions have failed. In many countries, tribes will hold councils of elders to seek their justice. I believe that George Washington was one of the greatest examples in enforcing the rule of law. He understood that it was necessary in order to establish trust between a country and its government. At his time of leadership, America was separating from the British for several reasons, but also because they were tired of being ruled by a leader who abused his power and did not care about what was actually best for its citizens. Because of Washington and other leaders' commitment to the principle of rule of law, our Constitution was created, and now we have a fair governing system which holds its citizens, officials, and military to the law. I was really hoping that I would be able to show you this video, but I can't get it to work, and this example was too perfect, so I'm just going to give a brief overview. This is Kimberly Motley. She has been a lawyer for the people of Afghanistan for over 6 years. She helps the people enforce the law that has been ignored. Here we have Sahar, a 12-year-old girl who was sold by her brother to be married into a family who attempted to force her into prostitution. When she refused, she was tortured to extremes. Nobody would help her. Thankfully, by the time she met Motley, she was rescued by a women's activist group. Motley helped her find her voice and demanded that the justice system be enforced. This was the first time that a victim of domestic violence was being represented by a lawyer, and they won. This is such a perfect example of how hard it is to enact the rule of law in countries who frown upon Western societies, but also of what a powerful force of good it can be. Without a steadfast belief in the rule of law, a country is open to all forms of crime and corruption. The rule of law ensures human rights. Without it, officials can be bribed, upper class can be take advantage of the lower class. Crimes such as sex trafficking, slavery, and bribery are free to continue destroying lives. This is why the rule of law is a government superpower. Thank you for listening to my presentation.